Up, up.
I have a tarot card or tarot deck like right next to me here, and for another game that I do, I started reading tarot cards before the actual game starts to see how it'll go.
Ooh, I've done
It's
that.
uh it's worked out relatively well so far. I let the tarot cards tell me what might happen this session, and I try to implement it, you know?
Tower card looks around. Yeah, you're gonna
Oh
have a great
no.
time, guys. It's gonna be very eventful.
The upside down Wheel of Fortune.
Oh no. Post there. And I gotta put up my blue sky on my title card, I think. I'm gonna be moving over to that with time, I think. Buppa. And then where else? On my thing, which is here. Very good. All. Oh, helps if I'm on the screen. That's helpful to us. Hello everyone, I'm AD Springer, also known as Corbidian. This is the Electric Metropolis video game tour, and we're doing yet another episode of Blood and Honor Steel Beneath Frost. So let us get right underway. The season of summer has arrived once more, and with it, the adventures of our three wisdoms takes yet another turn. The winds of fate blow across the Dewa province, and much is afoot. You see, Masaru had just finished dealing with Sagara Tenma, the scoundrel, in the most decisive of ways. In the heat of the men's bathhouse, no less. Talk about bad timing for a traitor. With his blade drawn, Masaru struck down the Yakuza boss, sending what remained of his men fleeing like leaves in a storm. Dewa breathes easier now, with one fewer viper in its midst. But, as Masaru wipes his blade clean, his thoughts turn to what else must be done in this summer heat. Spies and bandits, merchants and trades, they all wait, steel of his resolve. Meanwhile, our ever-cunning Lady Yako has her hands full too. While prying into the steamy secrets of the hot springs, she uncovered yet another shadow moving in the mist. Kasumi the Fox, a rival in the game of shadows. But Yako, never one to let a rival go unnoticed, left a subtle message. A professional warning, if you will. Letting Kasumi know, see you. But there's no rest for our dear Yako. With the hot spring intrigue settled, she now rushes to the aid of Ryosuke Takahashi, who ventures into the mountains near the old Shinto shrine. Rumors, whispers of a sword saint, Shirakawa no Seigen, linger in the air. Ronin, once a great samurai, now guarding the ancient pass that leads into the Mutsu province. Say Seigen's sword is swift, his wisdom deep, and he alone knows the secret way through the mountains. But will he share this knowledge with Takahashi, or test the young samurai's mettle first? The thrill of the unknown awaits them both. Does the Sword Saint know of the path Takahashi seeks for truth? Does he hold the key to unlocking new opportunities for the clan? Only one thing is for certain. More than just strength will be tested beneath the ancient bows of the Shinto shrine. So, dear listeners, prepare yourselves for a tale of treachery and honor, cunning minds and sharp blades. The winds may whisper secrets, but it is the swordsman who will bring the truth to light. Now, journey continues into the heart of summer, where mysteries await, and the wisdom of our three samurai shall be tested once again. Hi, author. Hello.
Man, I don't want to tangle with no sword saints. Give me a gun. I got like one of those, I don't know, one of those Napoleonic organ guns or whatever they were called. Like 16 barrels or so. Can I get one of those?
Yeah, just go all the way to the Southern Isle. Go to Kyushu. It'll be fine. I'm sure it's cheap too. So, Gunblade, get away with you. So, but as Kenzo Masaru and Yako had gone southeast to the bathhouse, you had gone along with Kenzo Shimo, the daimyo of your clan, to the village that begins at the base of the ascent up to the Shinto shrine, hidden way up and above. It's a rather peaceful time.
Sorry, I have a question before you proceed, if possible. Who the hell is Sagara, and why do we have a ticking war score with them?
Sagara. Oh yes, that's the Sagara clan. That's because of Masaru killing a Sagara, because Sagara was a Yakuza boss. So
where is the Sagara clan in relation to us?
They're in the Kyushu province. They're at the southern tip. If you look in the records of Modern Matters, at the very top, in the Discord, we have a political map of feudal Japan, and they're all the way down in the Satsuma province. So they're basically on the opposite end of Japan. But the danger of that is that the ocean is still a thing. So they now know of you and have a reason to have issues with the Kenzo clan. For now, Ryosuke isn't worried about that. He doesn't know that's a problem, but he'll learn of it in time.
Right, I understand. I was just curious as a player. Thank you. Please go on.
Not at all. But yes, it is a beautiful summer's day. Both you and Kenzo Shimo basically went along the main road, crossed a major bridge, the major bridge in the Dewa province, and then
how is the bridge looking these days, by the way, since Kenzo Masaru got it repaired?
Very good. It's been fully repaired by now, and it's been tended to by Yanamoto. Fixed it. Basically, when he fixed the path through Ichigo, he just came back and touched up the bridge some more, and then kept going.
Is it seeing any trade this time of year?
In the summer, there would be some merchants coming and going out of the Ichigo province, and out of the village too. Like the villagers would be heading this way to follow the road, and then heading over to the big rice farm because that's where most of the trade goes, and then back the same way. So you're seeing a lot of internal trade, not a ton of trade with Ichigo, but it's not necessarily with Ichigo. This is the main northern road that follows northern Honshu. So because that eventually connects all the way down into the central provinces. It's not bustling by any means, because Dewa is out of the way. Like, this isn't a proper road between Edo and, actually it's not even Edo right now. It's called something else in this time period. But it's not the major road that connects through Japan. It's a road that people use. Which, your daimyo is pretty happy about. And he could have taken the faster way with using the river, because you guys as samurai and owners of this province can use your rivers with impunity, whereas your average people, like only locals would be allowed to use it if the samurai allow it. And out of province people would need to check in with checkpoints every so often. Like even here, there'd probably be a checkpoint at the bridge where there's some samurai hanging out here or here.
Oh, yeah. Well, not samurai. I imagine Ashigaru samurai is valuable to man checkpoints. Well, we actually have checkpoints on the road. That's actually quite advanced.
On the rivers, not so much on the road.
Oh, okay.
Because the big checkpoints are really the villages. Like, it's like, well, you'll have to... There's some Ashigaru that might be hanging out there and some hanging out there. Like, local militia or whatever. But if something comes up, the main militia can come out of the garrison and come running down the main road at you. So it's not a good idea to cause trouble on the road. As we learned last time when Masaru heard of the banditry happening here, he's like, well, I'm going to go out there and stop you. Because I can't let you cut up our main artery. But Kenzo Shimo, you had convinced him that there was something to finding a second path into the Mutsu province for his ambitions. And there is one known path, and that's the main river that links between you and the Mutsu province. That's the one, Dante would know that one as well. And it's a matter of, okay, well, we have to find some way through here. And Shimo and you kind of had heard of, by looking through the books, that there was some path way back when. It's somewhere. The Shinto Shrine was kind of a way to mark it, but it hasn't been used in so long because it's, between two roads, one being going the long way around to Ichigo and then down and around, like basically going around the mountains, or going through the river path. Like those two are way easier than trying to cut literally through the mountains. But supposedly it may be wide enough that you could sneak some Ashigaru through there. But, you know, that's what you're kind of out here to find, is whether or not that's a thing. And the village you come to, this is a village that's largely loyal to the Kurogane. And that's the other reason Shima wants to be here, is that this is a Kurogane loyal village. This is one of their holdings. And the Shinto Shrine was one of their major holdings back when they were in a lot more on the upswing. But this shrine has been neglected because of their fallen fortunes. The villagers here are loyal to Kenzo because the Kurogane aren't fighting them right now, really. And the mercy that Masaru got. So part of Shimo's reason for being in the village, at least his overt reason, is to give this air of, you know, I'm not mad at you. It's fine. It's okay. You're allowed to have favorites, but I'm your daimyo. Hey, is there anything I can help you with? You know, I'm looking to invest in stuff, not just in the rice farm, but you know what? We might rebuild the Shinto Shrine, yada, yada, yada. Meanwhile, buying you time to have a reason to snoop around without it looking weird that a Yojimbo's asking around about stuff.
Okay.
But, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. Yeah, so Shima's nearby, and Shima will tell you after the first little bit that he tells you basically what he sent Masaru and Yaiko. Well, he wouldn't need to tell you that. He would have told you what Yaiko and Masaru were doing before you left the castle. So you kind of already know that they're off doing here, and they won't be able to help you right away. But that puts the narrative into your hands. What is Takahashi's plans in the village?
Well, I suppose gathering some information first would not be too bad of a thing to do. I'll try and hit up the local merchants. Surely they must have, during the olden days when this was a much more lawless land, smuggled something through the mountains or somewhere, so there must be a path. You know, let's hit up a cheese merchant or a rice merchant or some kind of merchant, like, hey, let me buy you a drink at the local tavern, you know, let's chat for a bit.
I would say that's either beauty, because you're trying to establish some camaraderie. We're all men of Dewa, let's all have a chat. Or cunning, you're trying to trick people into telling you stuff that they don't mean to tell you.
I would actually like to take beauty on this one. Because, you know, we'll try and all be, comrades about this, you know, so let's see if we can do it all together. Right, let's start assembling my dice pool. Let me get my cheat sheet ready. So, getting dice. My Giri. Would you say my Giri is appropriate with this? For this, if I'm doing it on my daimyo's orders?
You're not protecting him as his bodyguard, though.
Then no, yeah. Virtue, wisdom, clan virtue, which I think is definitely true. We seek wisdom in this case, right?
Yeah, you're trying to learn something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll take that.
My name, because I don't think we can invoke the clan's name here, my name means to make something clear or to help/assist.
Yep.
Okay, that's an additional... oh, it says here if your samurai's clan name, if your personal name... Okay, so 1 die from that. 1 from our virtue, if I'm not mistaken. The aspect that I choose to invoke here is... Merry companion is as good as a horse. You know, we'll be friendly with these people. Or even a thief must learn his trade, because I am speaking with merchants and craftsmen, potentially.
I'll take a merry companion. You're having nice drinks, you're having a laugh, and it's beauty. You're being friendly and open about it. It's like, you're not even like accusing them, like, hey, you used to do smuggling, but you know, I don't actually care.
Hey, you know, let me buy you some sake at the local inn, you know?
Which you can totally afford. It's like, yeah, we're going on the samurai's dime. This is awesome.
So that's an additional 3. Warrior poet as glory?
As you begin to wax poetic, giving them a sample of your poetry, in a more friendly and drunken state, but you have a reputation as a warrior poet. I take it.
Okay, so overall plus 6 dice. I have my beauty is 3. I have 9 dice. I'll wager 3 and roll 6. There
Oops,
we go.
I know. Yeah, 23. You have privilege.
Right, so what the merchants basically end up telling me over a couple of rounds of drinks, I invite them out one at a time, hey, why don't you come over? And it's like, hey, why don't you come over now? Let's all share a drink together, and essentially we get a large table full of somewhat drunken merchants as the day draws more to a close, where they all start recounting old tales of yore, back when it was easy to actually get things through here. Now that Lord Shimo is here, things are a bit more difficult because we have to follow the rule of law. But, back in the day, there used to be this little path that led southward of the Shinto shrine, which, yeah, you could get a couple of pack animals through there, and if you really tried, you could definitely fit some troops in there as well, by the sound of it at least. It's just that nobody ever really heard of it because it's not really used that much anymore because of constant snowfall. But between the summer and the autumn, steal this card, sure. Let it go. Between the summer and the autumn, there's a grace period, in which the pass can be used undisturbed. So that was 2. Okay, sure. One further, I suppose. This path will actually lead you to. Let me check the map real quick. Consult myself. This path will actually end up leading you very close to the road, which will lead you to the capital of Mutsu, of the Dati clan.
Ooh, I'll help you a bit here.
Mm-hmm.
Because you might want to correct that.
Okay. Oh.
This is the
That's
Mutsu
it.
province.
Okay.
So if it came in, it would come in somewhere here, somewhere along this line.
Oh well, then let's do it like that. It'll drop you very close.
So
To the
nearest
capital.
village would be like here, so something like there, maybe.
Yeah, something like there.
Or it could
It'll
be the
drop you very
shrine
close.
here, but that would be like here somewhere. But this would be close to a village if it was like here.
Yeah, because I'd say village because I'd say that's where they were mostly getting their smuggled goods from.
Okay. Alright, I'll take that. During these talks, you will also learn of the Sword Saint Shirakawa no Seigen, who supposedly lives past that pass. Supposedly a great warrior who fought vigorously in the previous Onin War, which you would have been involved in, but this would have been before. This would have been when Dewa was in different hands, because you guys only came to power last winter. He was in service of some lord. He was known for taking down 100 men by himself, able to cut through swords with a single swing. Lots of legends. It's just more people talk about. And there's a sense you get from that it's one of the local village stories. Because to them, supposedly that's where the Kuragane family learned how to be such good swordsmen, was from this guy. Like, he was their teacher. How true that is unclear, because it's just more stories, and wasn't even what you were asking about. It's just
What
extra
exactly did he do during the war to earn him the title of Sword Saint?
Well, that's just it. He was known for being able to single-handedly fight tons of people by himself with immaculate swordsmanship. And keep in mind that samurai in general in war are more yari or spear users and archers. They tend not to go to the katana first. That's
it's
your
a last
sidearm.
resort. Yeah.
But he would, and it always turned out for him every single time. And you with a high prowess, you because of that, I'll tell you for free that you've heard the name. You've never fought him before, but supposedly he's a person with an ancestral sword as well. There's only so many in the Dewa province. There's the Ryusuke sword, and then there's the Shiragawa sword. But most people, these people wouldn't know that. That's not something that they would... They don't live and breed swordsmanship like you do.
I think, did we ever discuss the details of my ancient sword?
Not in
I
detail,
think
no.
I sent a picture of it, I think, once.
You did, yes.
Yes, the sword itself, the way I imagined it, is called the White Comet, because it has a little blacksmith stamp right near the crossguard. That is like a comet with like flames going behind it, just very small, very not noticeable, and the color of the metal is bleached, so it's like starkly white.
The White Comet of
Very-
Mount Akagi.
Yeah, exactly, that's the one. A little bit on the nose as well.
His ancient sword is... I have his name.
With regards to my ancient sword, Akagi is a mountain somewhere in the... Let me get the map. Hang on. Map. In what would be today's... is it? Yeah, Shinano province, just above Suruga and Kai. Or actually,
I
it could be in
follow.
Kai. Yeah. Because that's where I imagined Ryosuke originally came from. Like central Japan, more like.
So more apt, he's just another one of the few ancient swords of Japan. Like he's from somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, the one thing I'll correct myself. You recognize that him being called Shirakawa no Seigen, that's not his name. That's the name of the sword, because that's literally pure and stern, as in you know it as the pure and stern sword. So people just know him from the sword. They actually don't know the guy's name.
Right. Okay. Some titles reach farther than, a name, I suppose. Okay, so he's a very badass dude that's guarding the pass, supposedly up there, but when was the last time anyone actually ever heard or mentioned anything about him?
I'll give a wisdom roll for you there.
Okay.
See
I
how much you
have
know.
a bonus wisdom wager for this season. We wrote that down 2 seconds ago when we were doing the season turnover, I think. So I guess I'll use that. It's the meditation point gained from the shrine.
Oh no, those are different things. So the meditation point gives you just a free 10. You just get a 10 out of nowhere. But one free wager is because you have a Buddhist temple.
Oh,
so you
okay.
get 2 things out of it. You get a wisdom buff and you get a meditation point. Well, the group gets a meditation point. The group gets 1 free wager.
Wisdom is my weakness, but let's see if we can try and make this roll. I can't invoke my Giri in this one. Could I invoke my name to clear things up, or to help or assist?
Yeah, it's helpful. It's helpful for your daimyo to know this as well.
Okay. Could I invoke an aspect of nothing, because nothing will help me here? Yeah, okay, nothing about that. Can I invoke a warrior poet, glory?
I'll take it because of the legendary sword. It would have come up in poetry.
Okay. And the clan wisdom of virtue.
Of wisdom. Yeah.
Sorry, clan virtue of wisdom, yes. Whew. Sorry, my bad.
That's okay.
So I'm overall on 3 dice. I'm gonna try and just roll that, no wagers. Oh, it's a 10.
You have privilege.
Right, sorry, draw it back for me real quick. What the hell did I ask again?
You were asking what you knew about this guy.
Ah, right. Well, aside from the obvious that he's a very skilled swordsman, I'd say that stories around him circulate that he once used to serve some lord or the other who was in the area. but eventually left because he couldn't follow his lord's morals anymore.
Okay.
It was ethical sort of leaving.
Which I will highlight is a dishonorable thing to do. One
Yes.
serves one's lord. One has a giri to one's lord. To step away from and choose the life of Ronin is... It perhaps is laudable in one sense, but it's one of those key points of honor of giri, where you have a giri to yourself, to giri to the people, giri to your family, but a giri to your daimyo. And sometimes when you have multiple giri in opposing view, it's kind of a no-win situation. It kind of sounds like, based on what you just pointed out, that he kind of ran into that. He ran into I have to choose between two duties, two giri.
He chose his personal honor instead of his lord's honor.
Yeah. So
which he promptly lost,
Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to sit down during the evening with Shimo and over maybe a cup of sake if he's willing to have like a little drink, try and relay the information.
Yeah, he'll listen to you. He has his own house here in the village. By which I mean, he said that's my house, and then the people who lived in it said, "Okay, you get to
Yes,
stay
my
here
lord.
now." Which
Yes,
is still
my
a
lord,
great
it's
honor
just
for them. The daimyo staying in their house, awesome. Yeah, sure, we'll stay in the guest house. You can have this house all you want. Though you notice Shimo's being very amiable about it. He's not kind, but he's ambitious. If he wants to unite Japan, he doesn't want to, especially with your clan virtues. He doesn't want to alienate the people, so he's not pressing upon them too much, like other daimyo might. But he sits with you with sake. It's not great. It's kind of pulpy, but well, the rest of Japan may say it's not terribly great, but up here, you may have seen a lot more clearer sake back south, whereas up here it's a little more.
There's a couple of unfiltered grains of rice just floating around in there.
Which some people just like. Some people just prefer it that way.
Oh, it adds a bit of chew to the whole thing, I'd say. But yes, I'll my sword at my side. I'll set down my drink. So, my lord, if I may, several things have become quite clear to me over the course of today. And trust me, Lord, this is not the sake speaking out at me, though I have tried to moderate myself as much as I could. These merchants nearly dragged me under the table. There is indeed a path, as the merchants, as we suspected, as the merchants have told me. It should lead us and a small force of Ashigaru, if I was not mistaken, and several pack trains, if we manage to fit them in as well, southwards towards the capital of the Date clan. We should emerge somewhere near a village. I'm not sure what the village produces or what its name is, but it is there, and it is there that they have smuggled their goods from in the past. They assure me they no longer do, but then again, it's Koku in your pocket, my lord.
Have you heard the legend of their supposed sword saint down there? Up there?
I have. A baseless Ronin these days, my lord. He supposedly had an ethical conundrum serving his previous daimyo. A skilled warrior, no doubt, but if one abandons their ideals in the face of their own supposed morality, then what else do you have, my lord?
I never saw him during the war. I remember just hearing about him.
What, pray tell, did you hear, my lord?
I heard he's a very devout man. Comes off very pure in the Shinto sense. Man who minimizes his kills. He has a reputation for being a great swordsman, but he was also one who chose his targets. He didn't cut through Ashigaru. He cut through samurai.
I see. A skilled swordsman like that, my lord, should you consider, and if he is willing, would surely be of use to you as well.
I'll
Would you not
admit,
say
I
so?
did seek him out. I did try to find out if he was real, but, every time I looked into it, well, I'm not as much the... He gives you a look, and then he looks around the room. As you realize he looked like he was going to pretend he didn't know a lot, but your clan virtue is wisdom, so he's pretending he isn't wise for a second, and he looks around, realizing you're not being spied on right now. He says, he leans towards you a little bit. In truth, I know not his name. I know only his reputation, and really the reputation of the sword. Some more superstitious types believe it is the sword that fights, not the man. Mind you, some would say that of your sword, but we know better than that.
I am, my lord, merely an artist, and this sword is my brush, with which I stroke upon the great canvas that are your enemies. But
Any word about his possible connections with the Kuragane?
no, my lord, none whatsoever. If this person truly exists, then I believe that their motivations are purely self-centered for the time being, at the very least. If you don't mind, my lord, I would perhaps like to stay in town for a few more days and plot the journey south. And perhaps Lady Yako will see it fit to accompany me to seek out this sword saint.
Speaking of, actually, she is on her way. It seems that a great many things have occurred in Mountain Pass. We now have Takeda and the Sagara to worry about.
Of the Takeda I've heard, skilled horsemen, my lord, yet the Sagara escaped me. They are far from here, I presume?
Quite far as Kyushu. And he
Oh
gives
dear.
you a knowing look, because you both would know that Kyushu is also where the Portuguese ports are.
Then I suppose they... Perhaps it is too early to speak of such things. Although, I have heard rumors, my lord, of the black sails that sail across the Yellow Sea.
As long as they stay down south, we're okay, but... According to the report that Basaro wrote, well, the Sagara that was there in the baths with him, one he had slain, it seemed he had a southern barbarian firearm.
A look of concern crosses Yusuke's face. I see. Well then, my lord, let us pray to the to the Almighty that we do not encounter more of these for the time being.
I'll trust the kami before I start trusting that Christian god of theirs.
Oh, of course, my lord. But in regards to Lady Yako, I will welcome her presence greatly, for I feel that this... How should I put this bluntly? It requires a woman's touch, perhaps. Not literally, my lord, but perhaps she is more delicate in things which I am not.
I believe Lady Yako would surprise you in that regard. As Shimo thinks back to the report Lady Yako told him of how she had a wrestling match and night fight along a river. It's like, yeah, delicate touch.
If you don't mind, my lord, do you have any plans for tomorrow? I would be more than welcome to accompany you.
Until I would like to go to the Shinto shrine, but I'm not terribly convinced of going up there while the sword saint's there. I don't know his motives and I don't know his loyalty. But at some point, I do want to head up there.
Anything
if I want to
in town?
consider rebuilding it. Because if the Kuragani are actually loyal and I don't have to worry about Koji, then building the shrine may be a way to secure his loyalty firmly. But if he's a traitor, I'm not so sure that it will be built in the Kuragane name.
I will, like, as I'm, in the sitting position, I'll, like, bow very deeply and ask, like, my lord, could I be so bold as to offer a humble suggestion for your lordship?
He nods at you.
I'll stand back up. Perhaps it would be a wise idea if you do indeed wish to rebuild the Shinto shrine to inform the local population, my lord. Hearts and minds are always great to have on your side, and perhaps the people around here will no longer see you as an enemy if you are rebuilding something of great importance to them.
The question becomes, though, who holds the holding? I hold
not,
all
my
of them,
lord.
but one of you three, if it's not Kuragane, it would fall to one of you three.
It matters not, my lord. You are the lord of this land. Make your intentions clear, that is all I ask, so that the people may see that you are their man.
It perhaps will be rebuilt, if there is time. But
Of course, my lord.
you may want to consider for your own ambition who of your fellow samurai you're looking after.
Of course.
Good night, Ryosuke.
I'll, like, stand up, pick up my sword, and bow, my lord, and get myself to my room and fall asleep like a sack of potatoes.
A bit of time will go by. Yeiko, as I say, your path is... They went a somewhat slower route than you did, because you guys went by river straight down, and then river basically straight back up after a night. You and Misara went all the way up to the port, and now you're going to be heading back down the river to catch up to Shimo and Takahashi. Is there anything you want to do during that journey before you arrive in the village?
Aside from practicing an instrument to relax and de-stress a bit, no.
Okay. Yeiko plays along the river's dewa.
It's been a stressful few weeks.
Mm-hmm. In time, you will find Ryosuke. Ryosuke will spot Lady Yeiko disembarking off the river and walking through the tiny little fishing port attached to the village.
I'll approach the boat and, like, offer a hand for her to get out of the boat.
I will accept.
My lady, it has been some time since we have seen each other. How fares the weather today in your favor?
Well, it was chilly earlier, but it seems the weather is making a turn for the better.
Good. As long as the fish in the water didn't manage to swallow you up, then you shall live to be 110.
How are things with you?
It's been a quiet past couple of days as my daimyo and I have been observing the situation in this village, gathering information, as it were. Turns out, I'll, like, look around. Turns out that they serve a great sake over there at the inn in a nice quiet little corner. And I'll wink.
Some older fishmonger ladies see the two of you. One of them kind of overheard that a bit, and they start tittering into their sleeves about the comment.
Would you care to join me for a cup?
Of course.
Great. Let us head over.
You find a humble little rest house. more for fishermen and farmers than anything else. But hey, they'll take samurai money as much as anyone else. Especially since you're buying so much of their sake, and they're glad to serve you more. They do worry a bit that they're serving you. Some people sometimes think of it as a little too common a drink compared to the more refined sakes of the South. But, you know, you two are of Dewa and have enjoyed the sake, so if you want to drink it, they'll happily serve it to you.
Also requesting some food just so we don't get absolutely like shit-faced. That's
Fish.
the goal here.
Fish is pretty common.
Some baked fish and some rice will do, yeah. Okay. So, I'll like speak in a very hushed tone. Let's now that we're here, perhaps we can speak a bit more openly at least. The merchants of town have in fact confirmed to me that there is a path that leads southwards towards Mutsu province, the capital, close to the capital of the Date clan. It would appear that there is indeed a pass which, well, it's under constant snowfall during the winter, but there is a grace period in which, well, which will soon happen, in which we may be able to get a sizable force and some pack animals across as well, through the mountains. There is a problem, however. That is that there is a... Lady Eiko, do you know what a sword saint is?
I've heard the term.
But you've never seen one, is that correct?
No, I haven't had the pleasure of seeing one in person.
Well, perhaps it's a good thing, because if you had seen it, you'd be, well, a neck shorter. Sword saints are renowned swordsmen, renowned so much that their names are spoken across Japan in awe. There appears to be one guarding the pass southwards from the Shinto shrine. That's why I had waited for you to appear here as well. I do not think that perhaps I could tackle this little problem myself. I needed a finer touch to things, if you will.
Do we know who this sword saint is?
The man's name is completely unknown, and he is known only by the name of his sword, Shirakawa no Seigen. He used to serve a daimyo a long, long time ago, a daimyo which has probably now fallen into irrelevancy. And he became Ronin because he disagreed with his daimyo over ethical boundaries, ethical levels. It seems perhaps that his daimyo maybe did something that wasn't in his favor and, or well, in his moral compass, and he abandoned and chose a life of a Ronin. He is honorless, for now, as it were, but he is still an incredibly skilled warrior. And if we do plan to go and march into war, as the rumors suggest, then having someone like him on our side, he is worth at least 100 Ashigaru by himself. You understand?
Yes. I'd be very interested to learn more of this story of his.
Do you require further time? Because I can take a couple more days rest here in the village, perhaps do a little bit of shopping for the trip. But I eventually do wish to head southward.
Of course, I'll travel with you. I would want to restock my provisions. And perhaps ensure that I have the necessary supplies to travel across difficult grounds.
Fear not, my lady. I shall take care of your supplies. Take the time for yourself to perhaps investigate the legend of this man.
Hmm.
We shall perhaps set out the day after tomorrow as the sun sets, as the sun rises.
Of course.
If you need me, I'll be at my lord's side. Do say hi to the daimyo. I believe he'll be more than delighted to see you.
Absolutely. And best of luck as your activities continue and your own investigation continues.
Likewise, my lady. Remember, we shall meet soon. Should you require me, I'll be right there.
Of course. And yeah, with that, I think I will go see the daimyo just to give my report and see if there's any other additional orders she has for me.
So the two of you go over to the place that he's resting in.
Mhm.
Yeah, Shimo greets the both of you with rather friendly bows, such as they are. Mostly nods because he's your daimyo. He outranks you. Lady Aiko, it is a pleasure to see you. I heard that you dealt with some unpleasantness, but it is dealt with for now.
Yes.
Good. And, Kasumi, is she something I need to worry about right now?
Not immediately. It seems her attention is drawn to our southwest for now.
I see Masaru isn't with you. Is he still working on the port?
I believe so, yes.
I presume Yosuke here, he nods at you, has filled you in on what he's learned so far?
Yes.
I have indeed, my lord.
Good. So, have you heard anything about the Kuragane, Yeiko? Yosuke has yet to. Oh, actually, better question. How did Koji account for himself?
He accounted for himself well. He is in grief, as anyone would be, but he seemed to act with due wisdom and restraint.
Where do you think what Giri is he prioritizing, you think? Is it to me? To his brother's death? To Masaru? Or perhaps the kami, he waves somewhat dismissively up toward the mountain. As you guys know that he had a choice between siding with Shinto priests or with Buddhist priests. He sided with the Buddhists, and that's what got him his castle. So he doesn't seem to have a high opinion of the Shinto because they were not his side because they don't fit his ambition. He's not exactly a super devout person, but if he's going to pick sides, he picked one.
I tend to trust people's actions over my impression of them, my lord. However, it seems he is devoted to your brother's service for the time being.
He gives a knowing look at you, Takahashi, as a sort of... He's giving you a heads up. Because that's of the holdings you three hold, the garrison's the most powerful right now. And now it seems Masaru has Koji at his side by Giri. And I'm not sure exactly how the temple or the rice farm fall between Ryosuke and Yeiko. I believe Yeiko was looking to the rice farm. Ryosuke was favoring the temple, if I'm not mistaken.
Buddhist temple, yes, that is it.
Yeah.
So Shimo is kind of giving you, he's not giving you an instruction, but it's a friendly look, because he is a wise and ambitious daimyo, and he's trying to give you a heads up of, it's almost like he doesn't think you have the same political acumen as Yeiko and Masaru, and he's trying to make sure you have a fair shake of what's going on.
Okay.
Like, part of the reason he asked that was to see how powerful his own relative was compared to you. Which is interesting. He's not favoring his own clan over you. I will note, that's unusual. Not unheard of, just unusual.
Okay.
And Yeiko, you'd probably catch that vibe that Shimo was giving him a look to tell him something, but you didn't know the initial contact, unless you spent your power to overhear that conversation.
I don't think I want to use that resource just yet, because I only have one use of it per session.
Yep, thought I'd give you the heads up. Well, for now, we need to figure out this pass and make sure it's actually usable. Rumors of a bunch of merchants is only so useful. We need to be sure it's there. I do want to go on a personal inspection of the Shinto shrine, so I will have a reason to bring Yosuke up there. But we need to make sure as well that the Kurigane clan has no intentions to fool either myself or Masaru. Though I don't think of the Kurigane as terribly cunning, they're more a house of prowess. That does not mean cunning's their weakness. So I need to be sure that when I get back to the castle by end of summer, of this holding's intentions and how loyal he truly. If we can say at least that Koji is loyal to Masaru, we need to make sure that the house is loyal to me. Or at least Masaru. He wants to keep control of it. Or if he wishes, because if I'm going to give this to Kurigane, because that's what he wants of me. He wants me to build up this shrine so he can get back his old holding and reestablish himself. Perhaps not as there's only 3 wisdoms in Kenzo, but if we're going to secure his clan, that's the way to do it. But another way to do it is to uproot the entire thing and place new soil there.
My lord, the population who still believes in those beliefs will definitely not take kindly to that.
Oh, it will still be rebuilt. It's just, I still intend to build the tree. It's just a matter of whether I'm saving the tree that's already there, or if that tree is wilted and dead and needs to be replaced.
I see, my lord. Forgive me for doubting your judgment.
He shakes his head. Any preparations the two of you need before we head up the mountain? The pass, from what Masaru told me, is a bit of a journey, and we don't have an Ashigaru train to walk us up there. We only have the Yojimbo assistants to Ryosuke. So.
Just the one assistant, my lord. Will my lord require anything for the journey that I can perhaps provide?
Extra food. We should probably make sure we have a proper offering to the temple. Run down as it is, it's not good to cater vengeance of the kami if I don't have to. But just general hiking supplies and such, really. And you'll probably want to pack up. For myself, it'll be fine to have enough to get up to the temple and back, but you two may want to be packed up for a bit more of a mountain hike than I will.
Would my lord care for some luxuries from the local market, such as fruit or perhaps dried fish?
Ooh, dried fish would be good, actually.
Of course, my lord, I shall secure it. Then perhaps, my lord, may I suggest that I have agreed with Lady Aiko that she will try to gather some more information now that she is here about the Sword Saint, my lord. Is it amicable with you that we head up there day after tomorrow, sunrise?
I can do sunrise.
Very
You have
well,
until
my lord.
sunrise. He nods at the two of you, kind of dismissing you informally. As you go, you kind of notice that there's someone kind of waiting outside, like they're waiting their turn to talk to him.
Ryosuke will leave.
I will bow and leave.
So, what task do you do within the village before the coming sunrise?
Well, Yeko, that's all you, right?
Yeah, so I'll ask around, see if anyone's heard about this sword saint.
It's the same offer I'll give to Ryosuke. It'd be by beauty or by cunning. Whether you're asking people nicely and plainly, or you're trying to trick people to telling you things that they wouldn't otherwise tell you.
I'll go by cunning.
Okay.
Better for me.
I will warn that even a thief must learn his trade means that you would be pulling one over your own peasantry and merchants. You may lose honor for doing this.
Yeah, never mind. I'll go beauty then. Because yeah. Thanks for the warning.
Yep.
I'll use my Giddy as a spy master.
Yep.
And I'm trying to discover either like secrets around this Ronin. So I think if my dog knew my plans applies.
I would say so, yeah.
So 4 and 3 is 7. I will roll 5 and spare Phaedra 2.
You have privilege.
Good. Yeah, so firstly, I will say that the locals have heard of the Sword Saint, or heard of a man who lives alone up in the mountain pass who matches the Sword Saint's description anyway. With my privilege, with one wager, I will say that their impression of him is generally that it seems he has something burdens him, but he is quite reserved from folks. The second thing that I am able to glean is that he, generally speaking, seems to interact with the peasants and the merchants around here in good faith and fairly. He has the might to be able to take what he needs, but he doesn't. He will pay instead.
Very good. These things you do learn.
Yes. I will share that information. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to identify who he was, but I was able to uncover some of his reputation. And yeah.
Any special preparations Takahashi takes before the journey in the morn?
Aside from securing some extra luxuries for my Lord Daimyo, no, I think I will spend the rest of the time polishing the sword. Because honestly, Rosuke's kind of nervous. He's gonna probably meet a sword saint, and he needs his tool to be clean, cleaner than the sword saints, hopefully.
The three of you ascend up the mountain, the hill path, leading up the mountain to the neglected Shinto shrine. And you get there. It takes you a little bit to get up there until you find it dressed in moonlight, the wind brushing past it. You see the buildings upon which are the hallmarks of a shrine, the Torii Gate, old and grown over a little, tall and red. The buildings, the stones beneath your feet, what little they are, what very few they are cracked. The steps leading up are worn by people who used to come up here, and actually, it looks like the people of the village do come up here from time to time. Like it doesn't, the stairway up looks used by people. However, it looks like this place doesn't have its own. It doesn't have a proper shrine guardian of any kind, like any shrine priest. And Shima would point out that one of the problems that this place during the last war, it kind of got caught up in the back and forth, and when it came down to it, the Kurogane weren't really able to secure them quite so fervently for the north, and that led to some, not acts of vengeance per se, but Shima would posit that it's entirely possible that perhaps what you guys learned about the daimyo who brought him dishonor made him make that choice. Maybe it had something to do with the shrine. Maybe that's why he's here. But he doesn't know. That wasn't his problem. His problem was in the north, not in the south of Dewa, so he isn't fully clear on it. And he never met the guy, so again, he doesn't know. But that would be his guess. Looking at the buildings, they're still there. They are built to last, and they are kind of sheltered in these mountains.
Does it look like anybody leaves any sacrifices?
You go to the donation box. You see that the rope is worn. Hasn't been replaced in a very, very long time. You generally don't want to replace them too often, but you do replace them from time to time. Maybe yearly, maybe bi-yearly. This thing looks like it's been there since the war, which wasn't all that long ago, to be honest, but still, that's quite a few years for this thing not to be replaced, for the bells not to be shined. You can see they're kind of up there. They're not dusty because people shook at them. And when you look into the offering box, you do see some offerings have been tossed in, though not collected. Although I will note that you would not see it hasn't been from the banditry that Kurogane led. One thing bandits sometimes do if they don't care about the Kami's wrath is they'll just steal from the offering box, especially if there's no guardian, because one of the guardian's duties is to clear the box and use it to pay for things for the temple. This box looks like there's quite a few coin in there. Not a ton. It's probably been emptied out by some nefarious person at some point. But there's still quite a few coin in there. I mean, a few coin, not a few. There's no Goku in there. There's no gold coins in there because no one's been that generous.
Is it dusty and neglected, or does it look like it's been, touched and handled recently?
It looks like it's been touched and handled recently. Like, as neglected as the buildings are, the grounds don't look dirty or dusty. Even the leaves have been, there wouldn't be a ton of leaves because it's summer, but there'd be some summer leaves that would have been brushed away.
Interesting. My lord, perhaps there is still someone who cares for this temple? There clearly is no guardian since the collection box is still, full, shall we say, my lord.
Wonder how much of this is Koji and how much of this is that supposed sword saint.
Perhaps, my lord, it is best if we not question who dares steal from the priests.
He goes up to the shrine and stares at it.
Would you allow, my lord, for me to see if these buildings are inhabited?
He glances to Yeka, then glances to you. I'll be fine here at the shrine. You two do what you believe is necessary.
If you require any assistance, my lord, we are merely a shout away.
He nods, and you see him almost go on guard when you start moving away from him. Because, as you know, the virtue of the clan is not prowess, it's wisdom. And knowing there's a high prowess individual out here that isn't you isn't very comforting to him. But he decides not to, probably out of some level of respect to the kami within the shrine. Though none of you have. Actually, I'll ask the two of you. He did not wash his hands before he approached it. He hasn't touched anything yet. Normally, one would wash their hands in the nearby water, and mouth and feet and so on. Like you would cleanse yourself a little bit because you are likely impure in some way. You're not priests, so you're going to be impure in some regard. Especially since the two of you have killed in the past. One presumes. So, but do you two observe such things? He doesn't, but do you two?
I think Ryosuke would because he already observed the Shinto ritual of the sumo circle, which, if you do one of them, you might as well do all of them, right? So
yeah,
I'll wash my hands.
Yeko would as well. Doesn't hurt to be respectful.
My lady Eiko, are you armed?
As is customary.
I suggest you keep it close to yourself. We don't know who we might see over here. Let us proceed.
A moment before we do, and Yeko will make an offering at the shrine quickly before going.
What do you offer?
Some coin.
Just a
I'll
few
be just
coin?
1 second, Verba.
Yeah.
So you would toss some coin into the offering box.
Yeah.
Do you go through the full ritual of praying to the kami?
What's this shrine? What kami is this shrine to?
This is to these mountains, basically, in particular. Though it's dedicated to this particular mountain here in the Dewa province. Although it is to the larger range itself, but the primary kami that this shrine's built to is this guy, like the shrine, the particular mountain you're on, which would be probably the tallest, sort of like a gate guardian mountain. It is a tall mountain, but the tallest is of this short of going all the way to Fuji, up this far, isn't the one that people honor as much. But this one is considered a gateway elsewhere, to other things, to other places. And actually, I will correct myself. I'm stealing your privilege, wisdom. There's more to
Wisdom
it than
roll?
that, but I just realized
Oh.
that it's a wisdom roll because wisdom is the path of truth, and you may have more truth. You may have more understanding to the truth than I, the narrator, have.
Okay. 3. What does... Can I invoke the clan virtue? I forget.
If you believe wisdom is why this roll is important, or if it works toward wisdom, which I believe it does.
Yeah.
A wisdom roll will usually almost always trigger your virtue. It's getting the other things to trigger with it that gets tricky.
So that gives me 4, so I'll just roll 4. I'm not going to wager anything. Of course I will roll well. Alright.
You tell me. I've said what people likely believe, but you know what actually people believe. I might be right, but you tell me.
Yeah, I would say this one is to the kami that rolls over this mountain. And I think I will go through the full ritual and pray that we find that which we are hunting for.
Shima watches you go through it. He does not. He steps out of the way because he was kind of standing in the way of the rope. He sees you off. He sees you tossing a coin, and he nearly jumps because he's surprised that you did it. He's like, "Oh!" And he kind of nods like, "Oops, sorry, I'm in the way." And he steps aside. He doesn't have to do that. He's the daimyo. He can stand wherever the hell he wants. But this place, you're kind of observing the holiness of the place a bit. He's like, okay, maybe I should be a little more. You guys are being cautious. I should at least not get in your way. He moves out of the way. Yeah. So it would involve the clapping of a certain amount of times, ringing of the bells with the rope, which jangle and jangle, bowing a few times, and it is then that a man dressed in almost white, but there's still that hint of gray to his clothing. A man whose hair is pulled back into ponytail, clean shaven. His hands resting kind of at his belt. At his navel, kind of folded among themselves. His sword gleaming, even from its gray scabbard, as a decoration of a single stroke of blue, indicating a river of some kind. And then as it approaches the hilt has a slight decoration of the mountain upon whose kami you were praying to. Shimo turns to see him, and Yeko, it almost feels like you summoned him as he walks up to you guys, and he doesn't bow, he just kind of stops dead center in the middle of the grounds. Yosuke, you recognize the sword immediately as the Shirakawa no Sengen.
Yep. I'll, speak, but perhaps not so loud that my voice echoes off the mountain. You will understand if we do not bow to you. But I offer greetings in any case.
He looks at you, studies you carefully. His feet shift a tiny bit, A little wider stance. Comfortable, you would wager. But nothing moving forward, nothing moving back. It's almost like he's considering whether he needs to be on guard, but he doesn't see you do it, so he doesn't.
No, like I'll rest my hand on top of my sword, but just like loosely hang it off my sword, so like it's in a resting position, not in a guard position.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Ryosuke Takahashi, Yojimbo to Daimyo Kenzo Shimo. This is the noble Lady Eiko. May we have your name?
He looks at you again, and then his eyes look back at Yeiko. Shimo has backed off a little bit. He's not full on retreating, but he recognizes that you're the Yojimbo, he's not. He watches to see if you're on guard. He notices you're not, so he doesn't. The two of you can tell that Shimo is trying to figure out how... He's calculating. He's using you two's reactions as to what he should do. And I would say it's almost to the degree of shogi pieces. You may be important shogi pieces to him, but he sees you on the board, and he's calculating whether he can take that piece over there or not. But he's not going to order you to do anything unless he knows exactly what the score is. He doesn't know where this guy's... He doesn't know the value of that piece over there and how dangerous it is to him.
He still hasn't said a damn thing since I spoke to him, right?
He's being kind of rude, yeah. He's eyeballing Yeiko for some reason. Which, again, you did talk to him. You introduced yourself, so he's being rude. But he's looked at you and stuff, so... Alright, cool. Go on.
Yeiko will say, someone has been doing their best to take care of the shrine. Was it you?
He nods. Very slowly.
I'm sure the local kami appreciate that.
He nods.
Cat got your tongue?
A tiny smile, quickly controlled. He shakes his head.
A vow of silence, then, perhaps.
The two of you can attempt a beauty roll to try to get him to open up a bit.
I'll do it.
And you guys can cooperate, or just let one of you roll.
I'll assist, I guess.
No resistance on him, you just have to hit 10. He's not trying to evade you too much here.
My Giri doesn't come into play here. Plan Virtue of Wisdom would maybe apply here? What do you think?
Yeah, you're trying to learn something about him, yeah.
Okay. My name is to clear or to help / assist. What do you think? I don't think so in this case, but our clan name could actually come into play here.
I'd say the clan name fits in, yeah.
That's an additional 2 plus 1 from the virtue. Aspect of a merry companion is as good as a horse for me.
Yeah, you're being humorous with him.
I did ask him if the cat got his tongue.
Yep. And in my case, I think none of us is as great as all of us would apply.
Yep, because you're cooperating.
And warrior poet reputation for me?
Not yet.
Okay, so 1 from virtue, 2 from name, 1 from aspect.
What are you wagering?
1 plus 2 plus 1 is 4 plus 3 is 7. Wagering 2, rolling 5.
What are you doing, Yiko? Whoops.
I need to redo my math. One moment. So none of us is the greatest. All of us gives 3. Plan virtue gives 1. Plan name gives 2. So that brings me to 6, and then my virtue is 3, or like my beauty is 3, so 9. I will wager 3, roll 6. I really want us to succeed on this.
All right. So you have privilege, and Ryosuke loses half his wager because he did succeed, but he's not the one who succeeded the most.
Oh. Right. I forget how this system handles assists is different from most systems.
Mm-hmm. So do you learn his name, or does he keep silent? Or does he merely just repeat his title at you?
Thinking, one moment.
Or perhaps you recognize him. You know the name anyway, as he begins to talk. Or perhaps he has a striking resemblance to a certain statue in the far north.
No, surely not. Or perhaps he is our daimyo's long-lost brother. That would be a fucking telenovela plot twist. Holy shit.
You're not wrong.
This guy is a kami. There's a suggestion from chat.
No, that guy is definitely not that thing.
No.
What about this guy's a dragon?
He's definitely not a kami, but maybe he's a dragon. How's that any better?
Dragons are well-meaning beings in,
He is testing you.
Asian mythology.
I mean, yeah.
In China, the dragons bring prosperity, wealth, and water to your crops.
Mm.
But of all these things, Yeko, in the spirit of harmony and beauty, what is it Yeko learns here? If anything, she may learn nothing.
I would say that he will say that he gave up his name when he broke with his lord.
That makes sense, yep. What else do you learn of this man? You guys can now spend your wagers.
Well, I'll spend mine on one. He's much older than he seems. He is starting to feel the years and time wither away at him slowly.
Uh,
Perhaps you notice it in the way he talks. You notice
And
it,
the way
like
he
his
moves,
hair
you know.
isn't quite as dark as it seems. Like now that you see it here, it's like, oh, there you see the streaks of gray. He's aging really well, but he's still fairly old. Like he's older than Shimo by far. And to answer your question there, Arthur, I have no idea how magical this world is. That's kind of decided between the player and the narrator. The players and the narrator. It can be very magical, or it can be very loose and more in the heart of the characters. It's kind of decided based on how the roles fall. So Kami is entirely possible. They could have gone with that answer. They just chose not to.
I think insofar we're more leaning on the, sort of down to earth kind of thingy, but it's much
Yeah.
more in the eye of the beholder, right?
Yeah.
Well, none of it kind of allows you to have that fuzziness or overtness, depending how you want to roll with it.
Yeah. I'll spend one and say that we'll notice he keeps his clothing looks old and worn, but in good repair. Like, it's obvious he spends time to ensure that he keeps himself tidy. He may have lost his honor, but he still abides by the Shinto traditions of cleanliness and hygiene.
Mm-hmm.
So his attire shows his devotion as much as his care of the shrine.
What of your other two wagers? Or do they go to glory?
I think I will still spend them.
Okay.
The other thing I'll note is that it seems that his sword and scabbard are well taken care of. He may have left his lord's service, but he hasn't let his skills corrode. That's the word.
Mm-hmm.
And I have one more to spend. The last one I will say is that he will say that he is, or he was originally from a village close to here.
Do you mean, well,
With
the
one
two
of
villages would be this one, and there's the one down in Mitsu. Possibly
the
there's
one
this
in
one here.
Mitsu.
Oh, so he's from the
Yeah.
Mitsu province. Ooh.
Yeah, originally. A small cadet branch of a samurai family.
I set aside my name for the deeds done. I am only now to be known as Shirakawa no Seiken. It is to this place I dared wander from my village in Mitsu. And it is to this place my sword remains. And I honor its path.
A real samurai, and one who is even considered a sword saint, would have gladly taken his life after betraying his lord. You have done nothing of the sort, but you have devoted your life to religion. Do you feel like this exonerates you in some way?
I hear the wind that blows through the mountains, but try in what left I have to focus upon that which is honored to the kami of this place. I hear the wind, but I only see the Lady Yako. Shima looks irritated by that he's obviously being ignored here, and he catches that he's obviously ignoring Takahashi a bit, which is not terrible. It's just rude. He's not insulting outright, but you're not supposed to do that. But he's not saying anything because he doesn't seem to be discounting what you're saying, Takahashi, but he isn't giving you more volume. But it's, again, he's trying to see whether you guys think he's a piece worth saving or worth getting off the board, because he doesn't want it to just sit here and do nothing. That's not to his advantage. But at the same time, he's not going to grab at the piece if you guys don't want him to. He's obviously not happy with how this is going. Not with you guys. He's fine with what you guys are doing. He's just not terribly impressed by this sword saint right now. It seems that despite being a prowess guy, it's obvious he does not share the wisdom virtue, but he doesn't seem to hold the prowess virtue either.
Well, my lord is foolish in this decision because a true warrior would never reveal his hand this early. My lord would know this, otherwise he would not be known as very wise.
You get a sense that it isn't prowess, because prowess he would want to prove himself. He'd want to fight. That's not what he's doing here. He could take his sword and be something else.
He is wise about not wanting to fight. That is the way Rosuke wants to think about it, because look, he is numerically outnumbered. He could probably cut through all of us if he so wanted, but what is the purpose of despoiling a holy place that you are trying to be a guardian of? With someone else's blood, you would be no better than a regular bandit. There is wisdom in that, I can see this, if my lord cannot.
Yeah, he probably doesn't see it quite yet. That's something you'll have to illuminate him on later. He doesn't see it right now. I'll agree with you there.
How would I refer to this man? Sword Saint. Then perhaps may we experience your hospitality, such as it is.
The wind asks if it shall blow between mountains. I control not the mountains nor the wind.
Yet the wind wishes for some rice and something warm to drink. Will the mountain provide?
The mountain already provides for any animal wishing to seek out its bounty. There are those at the base of it who honor the kami here, and to them fortune favors, and they live a life like men. But up in the mountains, like men, one can gather. one can subsist, one can live.
Is he offering us hospitality, or is he telling us, like, he's skirting around the thing? I think he's skirting around the thing.
You get the feeling that, I'll ask you wisdom here, actually.
Oh, my weakness. I'm not very wise. Okay.
I'm like Nicias and improv, where the players have a lot of input into the story. That's basically blood, not just Blood and Honor, but also the whatchamacallit, the Houses of the Bloodied system that John Wick made. It's based a lot on fighting for, not fighting, but like competing for the privilege of telling the story, whether I, the narrator, do or you, the player, does. Kind of do the same thing at the new space station. Well, who do you think is running this bar? Yeah, there's a little bit of, this is a very different take on how manage NPCs. I'm not used to it being a whole mechanic, like the whole game's surrounded about by this idea. It's very fate aligned as well, I would say.
Lyguria, I think, does not apply here. Wisdom virtue of the clan, I think, is okay here.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one. Is our clan name relevant here? Would you say?
Oops. Benzo clan. 3 wisdom, 3 swords, 3 health. Another way to look at it. Kenzo. Perhaps if Yeiko assists you with it, it would kick in.
I'll look over to Yeiko.
Sure, I'll assist.
What is this guy yammering about?
I'll
Look
assist.
of help me out here. This guy's losing me.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So if our clan name is appropriate here, if she assists.
Yep. Build up your dice pools.
Aspect of none of us as great as all of us.
I'd say so, yeah. Given you're cooperating with each other.
So I currently have +6.
Neat.
Warrior Poet for glory.
Yes, 100%.
7. Okay, I've got 7d6. I'm gonna roll that.
I currently have 6. So yeah, I'll roll 6.
Okay. Privilege goes to Takahashi.
Ryosuke gets the feeling from all of this that with the mention of the animals, yes, perhaps he's in touch with his nature side, but perhaps he's offering it also as a slight jab. Animals often come wandering into the shrine because it is a peaceful plot of land. So how different are we currently from the animals which sometimes visit? Ryosuke feels like he is asking us to prove ourselves.
I'll add on to that. That to help clarify a little. One of you already has.
So then he is asking me to prove myself.
Oh,
Anything
I
you wish
think
to
it
add?
has clicked.
Sorry, say again.
I think it may have just clicked for me.
Feel free.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think what he's referring to is respecting the shrine and the local kami.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It'll click in Ryosuke's head in that case. He'll give a knowing smirk to the Sword Saint. and approach over to where Yako is, and he will attempt to replicate her series of bows and claps for the bell.
If you get all serious about this and take this whole thing seriously, I'm gonna ding you for married companion. This is a time where you could make a joke of this. Like, stop being so damn serious. I don't know why he's being so picky about this. That's more what I think Ryosuke would end up doing. You can fight that, but that'll cut back against your own aspect. That you will lose 3 honor if you do this. But you will likely prove yourself to this guy.
Right, no, I don't want to get dinged. That's fine. As I'm walking away, towards Yako, I've already given him a smirk, and then I'll just kind of loudly repeat, what kind of nonsense do I have to put myself up against? As I approach the shrine and, very clearly disinterested, try to replicate the bows and claps.
It would seem to me, Lady Yako, that the white comet of Mount Takagi is far from home and has lost its connection to what makes man, and animal.
I, snap back towards him. You speak out of turn, Ronin. Or have you forgotten that you are in the presence of samurai?
Men are samurai. Animals are animals.
Then perhaps it is time for even this animal to bare its fangs. And I'll draw my sword.
You're offering a duel?
I'm offering a duel.
He'll answer it. Yako, do you honor the duel? As in staying out of it.
Yes. And Yako will say, if you must, please don't bloody the flagstones here.
You actually notice that as Shirakawa no Seigen draws their sword, you notice that along its length, much like the comet, you see at the hilt of his, you see that there is another line, a wavy line drawn into it, indicating a flowing river. And it's almost like the sword itself is a huge mountain. And you notice that the cutting edge of it is on the back, not the front.
Oh, so he's got some kind of southpaw technique going on?
It looks like it's a very terrible killing weapon. He can kill with it, but he has to, it seems his preference is, or at least the sword, lends itself into a more, using it as a bludgeoning instrument. It's meant for knocking people out, less than killing them.
What the hell? This is cruel.
Yeah, it's still breaking someone's bones, because if he hits you pretty damn hard with it, that's a lump of iron he's hitting you with, That's gonna hurt. A lump of steel, rather. It does look incredibly well kept. And it looks like he... from that, I will say that it does look like he won't kill you with his sword. Whether you kill him or not will be up to you, but it looks like he will just simply injure you with it.
Well,
and
I'll try and do my best
timer.
now.
Set timer 5 minutes. Sorry.
Well, there's a word. Okay.
Do. So.
Oh.
Yeah. So
that
two
word
of you.
is honor. I swear to God.
So the two of you draw your weapons, and you figure out how the duel is going to play out. Duel rules follow different things because you're not striking each other. Next time. So this requires the both of you to draw up your pools. He has allowed you to challenge first, so you are the first player, as it were. So you get to decide how many dice he loses versus yours, but you gather and announce dice. So you gather yours, I'll gather mine. He has
Does my Giri come into play here?
Yeah, because Yojimbo do have to. Are masters of. Are Kenjutsu masters. So, it does come up. It is something you will need to prove here. Or what it is you are proving, rather. Yeah. So he has his Giri, which isn't anything because he's Ronin. But he has his prowess. He has his sword. And he has an aspect that's helping him. So. Oops.
Okay, so my Giri applies. The clan virtue of wisdom does not apply here because I'm not acting very wise. I think, anyway. My name also, I think, does not apply here. The clan's name, the Three Swords. Would you say that applies?
I would say so.
Okay. My aspect of screw yourself, nothing applies here. And I get an additional 3 for my sword, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 1 for Warrior Poet.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Okay. And so I'm at 7 now, and I'll spend an honor point.
I'll give you another 4, was
4.
it?
Yes, 4.
So
Currently I'm at plus 11. My total pool is therefore 15.
His is 12.
I will not spend. I will not wager.
Therefore, he doesn't. The two of you face each other. Hands on your sword. Damn it. Have an honor point back.
It was sword the word.
Yeah, it was. Oh, I was so close. I had a minute left. No.
Sorry, I should have been gathering my dice a bit more. That's just the nature of the beast.
Read one at a time. This one. Just stall. GG.
Anyway, here's
So
the
your hands
roll.
on your swords. You stare at each other. And then. Ooh. The privilege is yours. Does this man die?
No, of course not. I'll charge forward at him. Our blades clash as the wind takes away some of the leaves that are fallen on the ground and knocks them off the ground. Our blades clash. My white steel versus his somewhat bluish, I imagine, steel.
Mm-hmm.
They dig into each other, We press our weight both against the swords. And then, with a flick of the wrist, which he didn't perhaps expect due to his age, or perhaps that he's just rusty from all the inaction, I flick the sword away from him to the right side, and with my hilt, I knock it out of his hand and kick him towards the ground. And I point the sword at his throat. But he is on the ground. I'll ask him, very gently, do you yield? I wish not to spill blood upon this holy land, though I may not honor your rituals.
You I will note that because you spent no wagers, no glory was gained from this duel. Because you basically went 100% against him and didn't at all try to use a very complicated technique. You just barely got him as you did.
Barely 13 above. Come on.
You didn't do any wagers. The system doesn't give you glory for that.
Yeah, well.
Because you kept your chances at 100% rather than lowering them. But if you reduced them to 0, you get no glory either because you basically just crushed the opponent. Mind you, you couldn't have done that to him anyway with 15 versus 12. Yeah, you'd be at 3 dice. Which, hey, if you got it, that'd be a lot of glory from this one duel.
Ryosuke is kind of still bitter that he lost to the Taxman and almost lost to the Kurogane clan member. So, that was my reasoning for that.
I will acknowledge that a tiny little spider just had a fall. Excuse me 1 second. Mr. Spider, you can't be there. Nope.
You wouldn't go into his home, would you? Get him out of there.
Go away. Thank you. Spider was like literally right where I was resting my hands. Like, no, you can't stay there. I will acknowledge that you won this duel. That your sword has taken the day. But I do not yield.
I'll back away slightly and assume another fighting stance and say, then pick up your sword, Ronin, for we still have unfinished business.
I will say to Yeiko here, partially from Shimo looking at you, and partially how you've seen the Sword Saint act around Ryosuke, you think the only one he's really going to listen to is you. He will go another duel, and this time you think he's going to use the other side of the sword. Because he thinks he's going to die, so he's going to push. Like, he has some sense of honor in this. He might be turned around, but he's looking to... you can tell Shimo is looking to see if you want to try to save him, or you're going to let Takahashi finish him off. Because he's not stopping him openly. He doesn't disagree with how Takahashi is dealing with this, but he does know there's another path. But he's a daimyo. He's not going to deign to do that. That's what he has samurai for. You can stay out of it again, or you can intervene. It's up to you.
In this case, I will say to him, to the Sword Saint, rather. Do you wish to throw your life away here, or have a chance at regaining your honor?
So now we have an interesting issue mechanically. I do not believe that, especially how Shimo's acted so far, I do not believe either of you are in violation of none of us as great as all of us. You're both trying to do something that defends the clan's honor. This guy was insulting to Ryosuke and to his lord, and basically just straight up made fun of Takahashi behind his back. So of course Takahashi's going to turn and do something about it. That's fine. Yeiko is going, well, maybe I can use... He was beaten, maybe I can recruit him and get him not to die here. He can just apologize and be done with it. Yes, that guy loses honor, but we may at least get him to help us. I think here it would be appropriate for an opposed role between Yeiko and Ryosuke. I think it would be an opposed roll of courage. Because you two are acting in concert with each other. You're both trying to help out the clan. You're not being cunning with each other. You're not trying to trick each other. Yeiko isn't jumping in the way to fight Takahashi off. And wisdom, you both kind of know the score. Yeiko knows as much as Takahashi does what he did. And Takahashi probably can read into what Yeiko's trying to do. But you both have taken different approaches on how to approach him the second time. So this either can be a roll-off to see which one of you decides the privilege here, or there's nothing to roll. And you agree. But I don't know if I would dishonor either of you for backing off, because you are cooperating. So I think the appropriate thing here is to offer you guys the roll-off. If you guys want to do it, you can, and those wagers can affect whether or not the duel goes on, or it doesn't, in what manner. Or one can yield, and that person basically is letting the other person's thing go. So that's up to you two right now. I have no reason to honor or compel you on this.
Okay, well, Ryosuke's train of thought after everything that happened here is, you know what, screw you, there can only be one Sword Saint Dewa, and that's me. So there's a bit of pride going into this, I think. So I'd try a, fair and square roll off. I don't think I can win this one, but let's try, right?
Sure.
Just like I did against Ensley when we were competing on who gets to build what. Let's see.
Makes sense. Yeiko is also going to stand firm on this one. For reasons related to, she thinks it's in the clan's best interest to have two sword geniuses within its ranks instead of one.
This is only I always get the spy master and the bodyguard having two different opinions on the same question.
Yeah,
you're both doing I will say you both are holding up your Geary. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. The other what was the other thing I was gonna say? Right. This is as much to do with her supporting the clan's ambition as anything else. So I can't use ambition as a positive, but that's that's really what's motivating her.
Okay,
so
well,
yeah,
Geary comes into play for both of us. Our virtue, wisdom, I think would more apply for Yeiko, not for me. I'm not doing a very wise thing, perhaps. I'm doing something out of pride, not wisdom. Whereas, what do you think? Will our clan name attribute here for both of us?
I think for...
I don't know if you're getting to the truth of the matter. I don't think wisdom applies here. This is more a virtue of courage, I think. You're both standing up to each other in a rather tense situation.
Okay.
I will say to both of you, though, one thing you could do, if I were one of you, and you could do it to each other, you can call out each other's ambitious nature as a negative. That knocks down each of you by 1 point, because you're... actually, no, not by one, by... I think it's just one. Am I full of crap? Because you can do negative things. You can point out a negative aspect of somebody. It would be...
Okay. No, I won't do that here, I think.
Yeah, you guys don't have to call it at each other. I'm just saying it's a thing you can do. It'd be one... You'd lose one die if you call it out. You make the other person lose a die if you call it out on them. Oh, no, you don't. They don't lose a die. You gain a die. I got it backwards. My bad.
You gain 2 dice, actually, for tagging an opponent's aspect.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
that's
2 dice.
aspect,
That's exactly what it is. Yep.
But that's an aspect. So if we could manage to call out each other's aspects, then we get 2 dice. For our tags, I'm not sure if we can actually get dice for those.
Well, ambition is a tag that you're calling on the other person. You're both tagged as ambitious, but it's something you can't
okay.
call yourself ambitious and say, yeah, that's good. It's the other person going, I know you're ambitious, and I'm calling you out for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So a
Well,
tag, actually,
tell
you
you
can do an
what.
aspect and a tag. It's just that you would get bonus dice for calling out that person's tag.
How much dice are you rolling with, Yeko?
Presently 5, unless I call you out on something.
I've got 1 from Giri, nothing from clan name, nothing from my name, I think, to clear or to help and assist. I don't well, to clear. I guess, perhaps I want to clear this guy out of my way. I don't know.
No, I wouldn't take that.
Yeah, of course. Warrior Poet as Glory?
yeah.
Okay, then I'm rolling with 4. I'll go 4 against your 5, no problem.
Alright. I'll roll 5 straight.
Jeez Louise.
Well, you got at least 10, so you have, because if you both get below 10,
Oh my god!
Holy crap!
that was close. That was
Oh.
intensely close. If you both got below 10, I decided how this went down.
Oh.
That's the
Oh
downside
my
of
God.
roll-offs between yourselves. However, you both got at least 10, but privilege goes to Yeko. You can decide if he wins or you win. You control the narrative currently on this particular question.
Oh, what's more interesting?
Or something else entirely. But the main question is whether it's your position or his position that you two are arguing. Because you both had a courage off of staring each other down, stating your points, why this is the right call. Or maybe it's a quiet look of, hey, nod, thinking, shifting, and then someone does something.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's beauty in the silence.
Yeah.
But there's beauty in words too. That's why poetry's a thing. Even in Japan, even in old Japan, poetry is a thing.
Yeah.
Very much a thing.
I would say the Sword Saint agrees to back down, less out of yielding and more out of a desire not to desecrate the shrine.
So he kind of shows his decision for you. Like he sees you stepping forward, catches on, and then he sheathes his sword.
Yeah.
I'll sheath my sword in response. Glad to see you have some sense in you, old man.
Just sighs.
Now, may we partake in your hospitality?
Beauty roll.
Sure. Giri as Yojimbo? I'm trying to get this done for my daimyo after all.
Not so much. You're not fighting this guy. You're trying to get him to give you food.
Well, not just food, hospitality more like, let's sit down, let's chat like normal people,
That sounds very courtier or spy master of you.
Oh.
But not Yojimbo. Yojimbo is the muscle, the sword of his daimyo.
Well, I still ask for his hospitality, so. Virtue of wisdom?
This doesn't lead to any new knowledge for you.
Oh, it might if we sit down and actually speak to him.
You're already speaking to him. You just want food and hospitality from him.
Fair enough. My name to clear or help and assist?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's +1. Clan's name? 3 wisdoms, 3 swords, 3
Yeah,
hits.
since you two are united again. Yep.
So +3 overall from names. Aspect of a merry companion is as good as a horse.
Yes, I'll take it.
Okay, so +1 from that. Bonus dice for warrior poet.
I don't believe so.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm rolling with +3, 4 +4, so 7d6. I will wager 2. Nice
You have
roll.
privilege.
Well, privilege is that he reluctantly at least agrees to sit down inside the one of the buildings where he probably made his home and offer us a cup of tea so we can chat, you know?
Yeah, because I'll highlight that, especially with the privilege that what privilege what hospitality has is he happens to live here where the priest would normally live, and he has some tea, some rice he gets from town, and whatever animals he manages to hunt in the mountains. Though he
Oh,
doesn't
we
hunt
are
animals all that often because he's trying to stay pure. So it's mostly rice and tea.
we are willing to share some of our rations along to make the table, or at least I am willing to share my rations to make the table at least seem a bit more bountiful.
um, I believe. I will say that for clarification, you can do that, and Kenzo Shimo will totally eat meat with you. One, as my understanding of it is, when one is maintaining purity, one doesn't eat meat because death was involved.
This also applies to fish?
Yep, it's a living thing that's dead.
Okay. Well, we
so
have
you
some
could, so you
non-meat.
two could, but I would say that he wouldn't eat. Though he won't stop you, but if Yeiko eats, that may disprove her because she's no longer pure.
I think we can share the non-meat based rations in any case. I mean, we're in his house. Logic dictates that we respect his rules while in his house, right?
Yeah.
Well, for a wager, you could push that. You can push that off of him. No, it does make sense to his name.
No,
actually.
it doesn't make sense. No, I'll spend the 2 for glory.
Sure. Oops, I got different button. So the four of you are brought into the meager priest's abode. It's cleaned up to a degree, but it doesn't look enough that a person could live in it. Very much a Ronin's quarters, kept very clean, but there's no wealth to it. Like even Takahashi, as much of a joker as he is still a samurai, so he still has a certain expectation of how he's presenting himself on behalf of his daimyo. This guy doesn't have that expectation, but he's still bushi, so he does. It's still like he makes sure he can get in and out. He makes sure he has a bed. He has a place to put his sword. Enough to do his giri, as it were, or his place in the world as a bushi. But he doesn't have the wealth to be super nice. He probably has a set of clothes. He doesn't have like extra sets of clothes. There's no servants here. He has some rice, some tea, and you're providing extra on your own behalf because, like you say, you have enough that you bought it down there. He kneels. He will put his sword. He lays the sword when he goes to sit down at his left side, so it's still something he can draw if he needed to, which I will tell you gives the impression that he still believes that he may need to fight. and that you guys are still on unfriendly terms. Which is rude to Kenzo Shimo, but at the unless you two make a fuss about it, he won't, because that doesn't serve his ambition currently. All he really cares about is, can I get up the pass? Like, this guy, if anything, he's getting irritated that he's not just letting him do what he wants. But at the same time, he's not going to start a fight if you guys had a fight and you backed off it. So it's like, well, I'm not going to start a fight. You guys just wound down.
Okay. Well, I'll look over to Yeiko. Telepathically try to transmit a message like, do you want to lead this or should I?
There's knowing look between each other. I'll say for swords put down, Shimo mirrors what... Actually, you know what? Shimo's would set it to his left, but then he looks at Ryosuke. Doesn't ask him anything, he just kind of looks at him, thinks about his ability, and then puts it on his right. Like, he's obviously putting it like, I'm not in danger.
Yeah.
Because Ryosuke's here. Which the Sword Saint will kind of look at him and just give a tiny nod of, I get it. Like, no, I'm not insulted, that makes sense. Which side does Ryosuke put his sword on? Down.
I will also put it on my right. I am not in danger. If I have to draw, I will draw with my left. I am absolutely confident in this.
Where does Yeiko put... Oh, well, you have a dagger. You don't walk around with a sword that much, but do you, like, adjust it so it's easier for you to grab at, or do you kind of adjust it so it's, like, more inside your clothes so it isn't, like, jabbing you in the back? Like, I'm sorry, because there's two ways I think you put the dagger. One is, like, inside your clothes where you'd have to fish for it, or it's literally tucked into your obi at your back so you can grab at it in a hurry.
Yeah, Yeiko would adjust it for comfort. The impression she gets off of this guy is favorable so far, so she'll extend him a measure of trust.
He will, seeing the three of you, and he does study how each of you account for yourselves and your weapons. He moves his weapon from his left. Like, he grabs at it, not at the hilt, but in the middle, to plainly show that he's not intending to draw it at all. He's just moving it. And very, almost ritualistically, he moves it directly in front of himself, and then he adjusts it so it's laying on his right side.
Excellent. So we are making progress.
You guys get one honor, because that is a very Bushi way to... You're honoring the fact that you're at least being amiable with each other. You have stepped away from
the law of hospitality prevents us from, slaughtering him in his own home, or what he calls his own home, He may be a filthy Ronin, but the law of hospitality still applies.
Yeah, that's where you're getting honor. You're doing something that any other samurai, your average samurai may forget that rule, just on a point of pride, but in the spirit of the virtue of beauty, hospitality is a beauty virtue, not a prowess virtue. Prowess is having the advantage whenever you can get it, because victory is honor, is glory. But beauty says that sometimes it's better to maintain harmony than to stand on pride. And that he observes, because you guys are observing it. You're reinforcing the beauty virtue here, which is something Shimo looks very unfamiliar with, but you guys are going with it. He's not going to fight. Although he accidentally did it, to be fair. He accidentally played along.
But I'll give a knowing look to Yeiko, like, do you want to handle this, or should I, or should we let the daimyo speak? What do you think?
Keiko will incline her head a bit to him. Kind of signaling, unless our daimyo steps in, I can take it from here.
I'll, close my eyes and just nod in her direction.
Shimo kind of catches this vibe, kind of looks around, and then he just nods at you, Yeiko. The little bit you get off of him that I'll reiterate that Shimo is currently happy to just... He thinks this is a piece on the board that he can just ignore. He can just play with as if it never existed on the board. It's there, he'll have to play around it, which irritates him. He'd rather this thing was either off the board or on his side. But if he could just play around it, fine, he'll deal with that. He just rather would not. Right now he sees this guy as a hindrance, but not an enemy. Meanwhile, the Sword Saint just sits there and, pours tea. And despite everything, despite nearly dying, there is a steadiness to his hands. When he serves Yeiko first, he serves Ryosuke next, and Shimo last. He doesn't shy away from handing them to you. He just puts them down. Not like a slam, but like a very measured sit down. Like he doesn't feel he's in any danger. And the fact that he's serving the daimyo last is also kind of brazen of him. But I will highlight, you believe from that his virtue is courage. Above all else. He will stay true to himself no matter who's in front of him. Which he gives you that to you for free because he showed his intention now. He's not a very cunning person.
Go ahead, Yeiko, the floor is yours.
Having had this read of him, Yeiko is going to appeal to that courageous nature and come outright and just ask him what brings him here to this shrine in particular.
You tell me. Courage. Did you dispense with all frivolity and decorum and talking around things? You're just asking him straight. What are you doing here? Basically. Why here? It's like, that's kind of rude the way you're putting it, but you're kind of not caring about that, whether it comes off rude or not.
Yeah, it's one of those where I get the sense that he will respect straightforwardness more than he would respect honeyed words.
You get 2 dice. Because you're playing into a tag of his.
Oh, cool. I did not know that. So 5. I don't know if my Giri applies in this case, because I don't know if it's a secret why he's here.
Not so much. No. Yeah, I agree with you. It's not like it's a strategic secret or he's like some sort of spy or something, so.
Yeah. I'm not really working together with others right now. So I think it's just the 5 I get from my from my courage and from the tag. So yeah, I'll just roll 5.
You have privilege.
I'll say he sought out isolation.
This is a place forgotten. Place neglected. But the kami remain. And in this place, I am isolated from the world of men. Short of the final step. Where I live for the Shirakawa no Sengen. A sword cannot live without one to wield it.
My lord has need of the pass here.
I would imagine that one whose heart is led by ambition would have need of such a thing. It is a path that I know that I have not walked and never will again. Shima gets a look in his eye like, oh, he's not blocking that path. Well, that's good to know. Does your lord have intention for this shrine? To burn it in effigy to southern barbarians? To replace it with a golden monument to a faraway Buddha? Or shall the kami be honored?
You speak of my lord as if he is not here, old man. I would be more careful if I were you, Ronin or not. My lord is many things, ambitious as you say, but he is not disrespectful to this culture, or to you. So I recommend you show the same respect to him.
Respect is leaned upon those whom I see in this isolation. I have seen or chosen to see that last remnant of the connection between heaven and earth. This place between the two. I have walked halfway across the bridge already, and only one human has walked halfway with me. All else is wind, as much as the heavens are wind to me. I know not the will of the kami, but I know little of the will of the men of earth. Shima shakes his head at this poetic. He's not a warrior poet like you are. He's just irritated. It's like, this guy's just talking around. Just say what you're saying. You can see he's getting very impatient. But he's not saying anything. He's not gonna, again, you're saying what needs to be said, and he's perfectly happy with that happening, but he's irritated.
Eiko, did you want to say something? Or...
Uh, so, to my knowledge, we have no desire to destroy the temple.
Mhm.
Okay. Jaeger will look at him and say, "We have no intent to destroy the temple."
Is it to be forgotten?
My lord wishes to restore it to its former glory. Our intentions here, despite your thoughts on who we are or what we are pure.
Ryosuke, you can give me a beauty roll.
Okay, sure.
I was thinking
waiting for
about
that
it.
one. Yeah. Does my Giri come into this? Guarding mine.
Well, he's not threatening your daimyo in any way. He actually put his sword in a bad spot.
But so have I.
Mhm.
Okay. Virtue of wisdom.
Yeah, there's something here that he's trying to impart to you. You're starting to figure it out.
Okay. Clan's name of 3 wisdoms.
Mhm.
My name of to clear and or help and assist.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's +3. +4 from the virtue. Aspect of none of us as great as all of us.
Mhm.
Mhm.
That's another +3, so +6 overall, I think. Warrior Poet,
Yes.
+7.
You wish to wager.
10d6, wagering 4.
Ooh.
Never had a doubt.
You have privilege.
What the hell is he trying to impart on me?
One
Help
thing
me
he
out
could
here.
be trying to impart on you, if you want some suggestions, but you might have your own. Is that he kind of, one thing you might say is that he is kind of dedicated to himself as a, not a kami per se, he's still a man, but he's almost like treating himself like a living ghost that just lives here, and he's just trying to protect it. And that's why he's not, you've learned that he's willing to talk to you, but he's talking to you as if he were a ghost hearing the human world. It's a weird dissociation he's going through. That's the only way he's still alive. It's the only reason he hasn't given seppuku. But it could be something
Okay.
else.
I'll accept that one. And for 1 point of wager, I'll say that he's starting to slowly come back to the fact that he is in fact a flesh and blood.
Mm. Having a sword
That-
pointed at you kind of in a duel kind of helps with that.
Yeah, that his dissociation is like slowly, disappearing.
Okay.
For another point, I'll say that Kenzo Shimo realizes this and wishes to act upon this human nature so that we may obtain this man for our services, if possible. And for 2 points, for 1 point, I'd like to say that perhaps he also, considering the fact that I defeated him in a duel, It's not nearly enough as being pure in his eyes where you purify yourself at the shrine, but it is slightly... He's slightly warming up, at least to me.
I can follow that.
Yeah. And for another 1 point, perhaps the voice of Yeiko and the very persona of Yeiko reminds him of someone that he lost a long, long time ago.
It is possible in the coming seasons a man will descend from this shrine. A man thought himself dead to the world.
Well then, to that man I say, there is still a chance to regain your honor that you lost years ago. In this world, not the next. For the spirits will judge you based on your actions in this world. There is still a chance to gain it all back. You are old, and you may have... Well, you are old, but a true blade never dulls. It stays sharp forever.
Shimo says, Sword Saint, can you point us to the path? And perhaps I will see about reestablishing the shrine. I'll be honest with you, I don't know precisely who is going to quite yet, who is going to be tasked with it. It may be with the Kuragane who used to hold it. It may be with Ryosuke here, who is here, despite whatever you may feel. It may go to the Lady Yeiko, or to my relative Masaru. But it's also possible that should a man descend, as you say, from this mountain, rolls his eyes and calms himself, takes a breath. But if a man does descend, perhaps he's the one who will look after the shrine. That's when the old man finally looks like you see a flush of life come back to his face. Because that's the thing that kind of helps define a samurai is it's not just duty, it's also the trappings of the duty. You guys have, every samurai has a house, has their sword, has their armor, has their money. But in the end, your giri is what defines you. It's what you do. It's your job. And it's why you're useful to the clan. Ryosuke has his giri, Yeiko has her duty. This guy may have a duty in becoming a sort of an emoji, a spiritual advisor. That's kind of what Shimo is offering to him here, without saying so much. I will say that does put him in a position where he could be a rival to the ear of Shimo down the line. If you guys don't mind that, you can simply let Shimo say what he's saying and leave it at that. Or you can intervene at this point, or either at this point or maybe later when you meet him and when he starts building the shrine. Just letting you know that there is a power shift happening in Deva because of his offer.
I'm fine with this.
So to that end, you are able to enjoy what hospitality Chirakawa no Seigen can offer. And he points out a path to you in the mountains. And 1 second. Oops, no. Getting the word for path, or pass, I suppose is a better way to put it. Oops. There we go. All right. So, he will point out where it is to you, and you will learn. Aha, that's what I was looking for. Where would you say the path is? I'll let you get that as a freebie. There's no you've done all the tasks that would get him to tell you, so you now know.
Oh, may I try and sketch it, perhaps?
Yeah,
Or
just mark
actually-
it. I can. I'll put the
Like, should I mark how the entire path goes, or just where it is?
where it goes to. Like, which of these hexes is the pass?
That would depend on the actual Mutsu map. I think I specified the exact hex where it should be, right?
Yeah, I would say it be in. Can the path go by a nice bar? I want a drink. No bar up in the mountains. I don't know if you want a mountain pass bar there, Arthur. Also, is it going to
I
be a
would.
long road? Get away with you. I'd say it's here. It'd be actually. I'll do it this way. I see here, or is that right? Yeah, here, or here. The places that would logically go out to the shrine. It's also possible, given where we saw it on the other map, it could be like something like way out here. Because it could be like you go. Whoa! I almost grabbed something I didn't want to. Everything but what I want. Shoe. Wanted ruler. So it could be like get up to the shrine and then da 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 or da 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 or da da, or it might wind around and go out all the way this way.
Given what we saw on the map, perhaps it's a bit more winding than, like, I'd say maybe one of these three, the initial ones, and then it starts to wind later on and ends up further more to the right. Like, this is where it begins, and then it ends, where the other ones are. Where Mutsu Province is.
Yeah.
So I'll actually take that tag with us. Oops, no, I want to be on the map. And actually, yes, Arthur, it will be a long road, because it's a long road through a mountain.
Party are.
And, oops. Oh no. There it is. Shift, 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 shift. And I'll put that in the legend so we know what that means. And edit. Oops. No. Right. Dash. Mountain. Pass. Yeah, this is where it would lead off to Ichigo up going around. going around the mountains, whereas you guys kind of go. It winds very wide west suddenly and kind of pops you out from here instead of there. So you end up going really west, but it also means that you can come in from a very weird angle. Don't worry, I have faith of the heart that our heroes will make it through.
I got faith of the heart too.
So these things, Shirakawa no Sangigan will tell you, in his roundabout way. And you learn and are able to figure out between the three of you that when the shrine is rebuilt, he will descend. Whether or not he's made, unless the Shimo is told one or the other, he's likely going to give it to this guy, unless someone else. Well, actually, he's now going to be divided between either this guy or Kuragane, but he doesn't know if the Kuragane clan is loyal or not. Because the thing is, Kuragane's part of how Masaru recruited Koji was to say, "Hey, I'm going to rebuild that shrine, and you'll get it as a holding." But now there's another person with claim that has appealed to Shimo. So now he has two standout claimants to the holding. And then there's, of course, the three existing wisdoms that he already has who may have their own ambitions. So that's something that Shimo's perfectly fine to figure out during the next meeting. Because if the shrine's rebuilt this season, then that's a question he needs to answer. He needs to figure out who it's going to. That said, though, you still have one duty remaining on your tables, and that is that at present, Shimo has had some testimony to Koji's loyalty, at least to Masaru. He has yet to be convinced by anyone right now whether or not it's if the village of the shrine is actually loyal to him, or if the Kuragane have other plans. So, okay. You two would either need to figure out whether you want to investigate more from the village or the shrine, because you've established so far that this Sword Saint has nothing to do with the Kuraganes at all. He's just isolated. He's just some old guy out there who's dissociating from the world. So that kind of leaves the village, the Kuragane clan in general, and either Koji is enough to hold up that honor and they are loyal, or there's something here that can prove whether or not they're loyal. So that I leave to you two, how you want to handle that, like how you want to resolve that particular problem. Because otherwise, it's a failed mission. Because you won't have by the time you get to the meeting, you won't have an answer when he asks. So is Kuragane loyal or not? Unless you're intending to convince him there and then at the meeting with like a beauty roll or something, going, "Hey, he's the right guy. You can trust him." Or if you want to do something before then, you'd have to do it here at the village.
Is he loyal? Like, his family, they tried to openly assault the daimyo with a poison dagger, no less. Cowardly, to say the least. But is he willing to wash away the stain of cowardice and dishonor? He seems eager so far, I guess, but is he? This is a question perhaps for the storyteller.
I would actually almost say to that another path, because one thing I was thinking of was you guys doing some sort of cunning roll to investigate the village for that answer, but that could be a discussion between Takahashi and Ryuko of going, well, you saw him, you tell me, and then it turns into, well, I think he's part of a family that's willing to stab me with poison daggers. And Yeiko could say, well, I saw him try his very best, he seems fine. Or you both agree that he's actually a traitor and you'd have to risk to see if that's true. But you could make it a thing between the two of you.
Okay, well, on a meta level, what does Yeiko think? Is he loyal?
Yeiko thinks, as she expressed to Shimo earlier, and he has not acted in a suspicious way so far.
Whether or not he is loyal remains a question. So, I don't know, what Ryosuke would actually suggest here is that Kuragane Koji be actually put through a test of faith. I see no better way to test someone's faith than in war, if we are already heading to war. For it is on the battlefield that a man's true emotions and feelings will come out, and he either proves himself or he dies.
I would take that as a courage roll to push Shimo into making that, because that's not what he wanted to do, but you could convince him that's the way to do it.
Right, that's what Ryosuke thinks should, happen. How we should test if Kuragane Koji is truly loyal to his new lord.
You going to help with that, Yeiko? Stay out of it, or work against it?
Gecko would help with it. Though I would also add for Yosuke's benefit, that's about as much faith as Yeko would openly express in favor of anyone who isn't either the daimyo or one of the three pillars of the clan.
And
So-
that is completely valid, but in
Yeah.
Ryosuke's eyes, a battlefield commission is as worthwhile as any commission given by anyone else.
Absolutely. I agree with that. That's why I'll assist you on this one. It's more I'm saying Yeiko's job is to be suspicious of everyone. So that she's unwilling to give somebody a wholehearted vouching doesn't necessarily mean that they're disloyal.
I have a question from a narrator point of view.
Yeah.
Is this decision coming from a place of this is the way you think will truly prove him out? Or is this a cunning way to see him die in a battlefield so you guys don't have to worry about him getting the holding?
No. That would be extremely dishonorable. Don't get us wrong.
That's why I was asking.
No.
Yeah.
I was like, if I were being extra cunning and dishonorable, that's what I would do.
When you think to like heroes of old, even in Japanese, folklore, they were always, along with being great statesmen, they were renowned warriors. Some of them, even Tokugawa Ieyasu was a renowned warrior in his own right, though he was more known for being cunning and sly and devilish. But he was still known as a warrior. So I'd say yes. In Ryosuke's eyes, this is a legitimate way to prove yourself. Like, you want to do something. In my eyes, which are like very prowess based in nature, go out there on the battlefield, prove your faith and devotion to your lord, live to tell the tale, and get rewarded for it.
Build your courage.
Courage it is.
Oh.
I'll say the virtue doesn't apply here.
By virtue, you mean wisdom.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Because you very much made a prowess or argument.
My name to clear or assist.
I wouldn't take it.
Okay. Clan's name.
Yeah.
Okay, that's 2. Aspect. None of us is as great as all of us, considering Yeiko and I are working together on this one.
Yep.
+3.
Makes sense.
Warrior poet?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Kenzo is ambitious. This, if he manages to prove himself and do something great on the battlefield, this would serve his ambition.
I wouldn't take it, because his way does it just as well.
Alright, fair enough. So I'm
Because the quick answer is he just gets the guy to commit seppuku and he has one less thing to worry about.
But a sword is a sword, my guy, and you know what helps you conquer Japan? Swords, among other things, or spears in this case. Okay, well, clan name 2, aspect +3, so we're at +5, +1 for glory, I'm at +6. Courage, I'm rolling 8 dice, and I'm wagering 2.
What you doing, Yako?
I'd be rolling 7 days.
Okay.
Well, rather, I have 7 days. I will wager 2 of those 7 and roll 5. Okay.
Yako has privilege. Ryosuke loses half his wagers.
Poor thing.
Yeah, so I will say for privilege, Kenzo Shimo is convinced by Ryosuke's argument.
Yep. You have your wagers.
Anything you want to spend that on?
I'll say part of what has Shimo encouraged or leaning in agreement with you is that this gets him closer to a war footing. So it aligns with his ambitions. So
He's very sold on it. It's gonna be hard to shake him off this. Yeah.
yeah.
Could I spend one of those to say that Koji himself is actually okay with this idea?
I would say you could spend it thinking that he'd be okay with it, because you are actually kind of aligning with prowess as a virtue, and I've kind of highlighted that Koji is a prowess virtue person. So you're kind of, that's something Takahashi, having not met him much, but has correctly guessed that's something Koji would be okay with. That makes sense to me. One still left in Yako's pocket.
The other thing I will spend on is the idea that the Kodagari clan will view this as a way to rehabilitate the clan's image. If he's given the opportunity to gain glory in battle.
Okay. You make your arguments. You point out things for Shimo to figure out, and kind of. He's very quiet. He thinks. Which means that for the sake of giving him a fair chance at holding this shrine, I shouldn't build the shrine yet until we know whether or not he's actually a contender. Which means we need to wait until we go to war with Date. Or perhaps with the Longwei or Sagara. Shakes his head. Like, the Takeda I dealt with war with right away, but not in a way that would let Koji win. So if we're gonna prove him, we have to prove him against Date, Sagara, or Longwei. Whoever it is we fight. I think the Sword Saint will stay up here. He'll live. He'll live as long as this place lives. It's weird shrine he's encased himself in, like an offering. I don't think we have any other reason to be up here anymore. I think we need to descend back to the castle and pull Masaru away from the port and figure out what exactly we're doing come autumn.
Quite right, my lord. And perhaps while we go down there, we may consider perhaps rebuilding the shrine still. Not as something we made as a promise, but for the people.
Well, I
Silly-
mean, I am seeing the wisdom of having the shrine one way or the other. There's this place, as much as I don't take it terribly seriously, and you don't take it terribly seriously. He looks at Yako. Some of us do. And a lot of the people at the bottom of this hill do. Probably many others in this place that do, and they just don't say anything to me. For whatever reason. The question for me is that, in the end, who of my samurai, who do I hand it to trust? And that's why I'm not eager to build it before I know who that is, because then I end up building up something without responsibly knowing who's taking care of it on my behalf.
I think the young lady in your employ, my lord, has proven that she has sufficient grit and mettle, perhaps, to take care of this business for you.
So we would ignore the promise of Masaru to Koji, or my offer to the Sword Saint? I
You are
could.
right, No, you are right, my lord. Perhaps the Sword Saint and Koji have equal praxis to it. But, my lord, the Sword Saint is old. He shan't live for very much longer. Koji still has his life ahead of him. Perhaps one day he'll live into it. And until then, he has plenty of time to prove himself to you. The winters in these mountains, my lord, they are harsh, as you know.
Let's
The
say
old man is-
you, Lady Yako. Do you share this ambition that Takahashi has mounted upon your shoulders?
I would rather not become too tall a poppy in the province.
GM, I was actually arguing for the Sword Saint to take it because, like I said, he's old. He's not going to last long. And Koji's, he's going to prove himself eventually, so he'll live into it.
Yeah. That
So
works.
I was actually arguing for the Sword Saint to get it.
Yeah.
Because, like I was about to say, the winters are very cold in those mountains, How long can those old bones still take the chill?
To all this, Shima will then, having realized that after listening to Yako, because he's cluing in what you really meant, he's like, perhaps my three wisdoms will have a nice conference by summer's end and decide what suggestion should stand tallest and what should stay lowest.
And rightly so, my lord. Now come, the road ahead is fraught with danger, and we have packed but only one smoked fish.
Yes, the mighty danger of the stairway down to that village. I'll be glad to be in a boat again. I don't want to... I'm not sure I want to ride my horse all the way back. Then again, we have three of us crowding into the same boat, so we might take horses back. We'll figure it out when we get on the bottom. Let's get rid of this eerie place.
Fear not, my lord. I hear the fish. They're quite heavy, and they like to bite.
As Ryosuke and Shimo descend, Yako, as the last to go down, you can feel as you pass through the Torii Gate a presence, and you kind of look behind you, and you notice that Shirakawa Sengen is standing there, and he bows really low to you guys as you're leaving. Almost sort of like how a master might bow to someone who stayed for a while. And that's kind of a sign that perhaps he's connecting. He's not feeling quite so distant anymore. Well, although that could be a bow of goodbye. Who knows as time goes on.
Yako will bow back to him in respect.
So, it would seem the tragedy of the Sword Saint does not come to pass. It seems his fate at the sword of a Yojimbo is not coming. He was defeated, but he was not slain, as I was fearful he would be. But he is instead kind of left in this interesting bit of limbo where he will serve in some capacity, whether it be for the shrine's benefit, which seems to be the favored path, or to some other thing. That's for another season to figure out, sometime in autumn or winter. That particular bit of steel will emerge from the frost. So that mission done, the path found, and the port, I'm likely going to wave forward. I think we'll go into a meeting next time in the opening of autumn, next we sit. But the task is done, so an honor is gained for finding the path as you were ordered, and I'm not going to give another one for figuring out what to do with Kurogane, because that's kind of been tabled. He's kind of left in a limbo of proving himself by warfare. So whether that proves out to make him loyal or not, we'll have to wait and see, or if some greater treachery lies. Although it doesn't seem to be lying with our samurai, so that's a nice bit of news to hear.
Well, it's simple. If he feels delight in slaying the enemies for his lord, and blooding his katana with the blood of his lord's enemies, then he is alright.
Just be sure that it's your lord he does it for, and not for another. Date and Usugi are you have very many lords with much larger holdings. There's a danger in this plan, but a brave one. Well, one that trusts in prowess to decide the day, I suppose.
He will die before he gets the chance to betray us.
One hopes. But that is a story for a different time. Esteemed guests, beloved patrons, and wandering tourists all, it seems we've reached the end of our story for tonight. Just as the sun sets and the snow falls, so too must every tale find its pause. Even if the journey isn't quite finished. But fear not, for the path ahead is still long and told in a strange way, and our samurai heroes have much more to face, even among themselves, whether it be steel, frost, or fate itself. I hope you enjoyed this small slice of our tale, and that you'll return once more to see what becomes of these brave souls in the frozen north. Will their blades cut through destiny, or will they be buried beneath the weight of duty? Only time will tell. For now, let us rest, just as every samurai must at the end of a long day. Until we meet again, may your heart be warm, your spirit strong, and your tea hot. Thank you for joining me, and remember, no story is ever truly over till it is forgotten. So let's keep these tales alive together. Good night, and see you next time. Bye.